Hi and welcome to the fourth episode in this planetary series that is completely focused around the goddess and planet Venus. The word Venus actually comes from the root one, meaning to strive for or to desire. So there is going to be a lot in here, I feel, about desire, about opening the heart, about becoming and rising into universal love and all that means in its abstractness. And it's also about deep sensuality, it's about pleasure, it's about beauty, honouring beauty, the beauty that you are, the beauty that you see reflected back to you in your life. And it's also about like softness, femininity. It's also the fierce feminine. It's kind of all aspects really. It's also fertility and sex, and it's also surrender, it's radiance, it's your feminine, magnetic, authentic essence. So it's like, who are you naturally? This is really the question that's coming through just immediately. Who are you in your natural nature, in your true sexuality, in your true sexual expression, in your true sensuality? You know, because this sensuality is so intrinsically connected with surrendering, and this requires an opening of the heart. And we open the heart when we can soften, when we feel safe to soften. Because there's of course a place for the fierce feminine, you know, the warrior, the Ishtar. I like to summon her energy. Ishtar is the goddess of kind of war as well as love, and there's this fierceness, this boldness, this unapologeticness of Ishtar. She's also known as Inanna. But when we're talking about Venus, we're talking about softening into surrender and really what permits that. So I'm going to start by what permits that really, because if we're talking about it in relationship, security is so important. When a woman is together with a man in this type of relationship, there has to be a permittance, rather like a constancy, a focused direction of energy and presence really. Because whilst we can have love, like infinite love, in sexual and romantic relationship, if there isn't full presence in a single direction, there can be this scattering of energy, which of course serves its purpose in, you know, many explorations of relationship. But when it comes to like really indulging in this magnetic bath of a woman, when it comes to a woman fully opening her feminine heart in its entirety, there has to be this full presence and focus. So this constancy, this presence of a man in a woman's life will allow her to open her feminine heart. It will also allow her to open her sex center for him. And this magnetic wrap will support actually his rise as well and his expansion, because the magnetism is what makes the electric flow go. So this is why it's so important for a woman to feel safe. It's really important for a man actually to take this freeing possession of his woman in a sexual relationship for the fullest of expansions, for the fullest of feelings, for the fullest of depths, the highest of heights. You know, when there's full presence, when there's this constancy, there is this feeling of utter safety. And then a woman can open her everything. She has a magnetic floor at the root of her body, at the root of her belonging. And this only opens when she feels safe at a heart, soul level. And it's not intellectual at all. She will just open her body when she feels the epitome of safety. And until she feels that, she will open in varying degrees or not, you know, when she's discerning who comes into her field, her space, her sexual space, her everything, her anything. And then a man will, to the degree that he is present for a woman, experience to that same degree her expansion. So yes, this presence, this safety, this constancy allows a woman to feel safe to open. And then it does this really beautiful thing of like completely eliminating any neediness at all, because there is such a sense of safety. So when somebody feels safe, they don't need to need. They don't feel any sense of even potentially wanting to cling even a tiny bit because of that safety. It facilitates the safety. But it's kind of a double paradox, because the woman first has to feel secure in herself in order to invite in the security of the masculine in a man, the pure masculine, the divine masculine into her space. So we've really always got to be brave enough to ask the questions like, How am I providing safety for myself? How do I make myself feel secure? How am I showing up in my divine masculine? Because, you know, it's when I bring in this structure, when I bring in this safety, this security, and hold my own being, then I can invite that in as a reflection in any man that I am to or destined to magnetize with, you know, for the highest good, opening only for the highest good. It also is your feminine radiance that is your magnetism. So when you're in your pleasure, when you're in your purpose, when you are really in your beauty, when you're in your purpose and you're satisfied, you know, this intrinsic satisfaction because of what you're doing in your life and how you're appreciative of all that you experience and just the gift of life. This will be uber magnetic for a beautiful, pure, divine masculine presence in your life. So this ought to always be the reflection point, I feel. Like, how do I come into my full radiance? What brings me most alive? What makes me most illuminated? And how can I keep myself safe, secure, holding myself? I have to be the firmament of my own being. And only then can I attract that in. Only then can I invite that in. Only then can I even remotely expect that. But it's not about expectation at all. It's just about opening to see that as a reflection and installing that in our own being before we even before it's even possible for it to enter, actually, you know, because like is always seeking like. So, you know, we have to bravely ask these questions, like, you know, if I'm attracting something that doesn't feel secure, where do I not feel secure, and how can I strengthen that security of my own being? How can I strengthen that feeling of safety for me? How can I install all these things that I am desiring and longing to summon in and that I know is potential for me? You know, it's the question really, like, what must I become? Who must I become in order to see these beautiful reflections? Because otherwise we're just going to see these reflections back that show us where we need to heal, which is also valuable. But to come into this mastery, this beauty, all of these qualities associated with Venus and really all that we desire at a very core level. You know, if you go really deeply into the entirety of your being, what do you really desire to experience? This question was really coming to me as I woke up this morning. What do you wish to experience? The goddess Isis, Egyptian goddess of love and magic and fertility. She's the Egyptian equivalent of Venus. She's saying, what do you wish to experience? Because whatever you are, however you're vibrating, whatever you're sending out is going to be reflected back to you. So it's about really discerning as well. She's like saying, be clear about what's okay for you. Be clear about what is okay to enter your field. You know, use your intuition and don't ever override it. You know, really, really trust in this sensing system, this beautifully acute and ancient wisdom of your body sensing system and the light of your soul, really, that's saying you don't have to go into this, or like basically this is your path of least resistance. So, you know, your intuition shows up as these sometimes subtle, sometimes less subtle, but often they will fire just once, sensations in your body, and it's really about listening. You know, you'll be listening to somebody speak, or they'll say something, or they'll exhibit a behavior, and you'll know with your whole body and in different places according to how your intuition is showing up that is, you know, feeling something. There's a feeling emerging in your body that's saying, listen, you know, this is not something that you have to go into, or it is. It will be guiding you in a particular direction. But it's about really honoring that nose of your soul, that discerning faculty, and staying bound to it. Because if ever we don't bind to our intuition, it's rooted in a sense of like not trusting that the right thing will come in divine timing. And this is a wound of the feminine. So really, to heal this is kind of oxymoronic, but we have to come into our masculine aspect more dominantly for a moment after receiving. We have to take action. And when we take action, we can see how we are protected. We can see how our intuition is taking us on the path of least resistance. So we listen to those sensations in the body and we make adjustments according, or like really we honor the message that the sensation in the body is bringing. Because there will be a contraction if there is this discerning faculty that's like illuminating in your body going, oh, hold on a minute, this doesn't feel good. This feels like a closing of my heart, or it's like It's activating like a contraction in my body. And this is always a signal that it's not the most aligned path for you, that you actually don't need to go into that experience. Maybe it's a repeat test, it's a repeat experience, and you will always deepen a wisdom. But oftentimes this is really painful, and you don't have to go through this if you tune into the sensations in your body that are like, they're like alerts, aren't they? They'll be like flashes, or they're like epiphanies, or just this like, oh, I know. They're just immediate, straightforward, direct knowings. And I think if we're all honest, in retrospect, once you look back, there will always be moments when you've gone into something that you didn't need to go into, where you knew. And this is the empowerment, you know, like there is no deception. Your body always fires. Your soul light always goes, this is the God in you. This is the God in you saying, this is not your path of least resistance. You can go if you want to exert your free will. But your God nature is saying you don't have to go there. So listen to the subtleties and the firings and the knowings of your body, and allow them to guide you, because this is really guiding you into the ascent of your God nature and soul embodiment. And whilst there is no wrong or right, there is just aligned or misaligned, and sometimes you can save yourself going through painful experiences by honouring these sensations, honouring this love that you are. Venus symbolises your imperial and innate power. And you know, the Venusian energy comes saying, you know, be who you are, you know, in all of your radiance and power, like allow to exhibit all of your strangenesses, all of your quirks, all of your unique aspects, and share these with the world. Because when you start to install all of these values that you have, all of the things that you believe to be true, and all of the things that you want to stand by kind of morally, ethically, you know, all of the things that you would like say, you know, you've got to walk the walk or walk the talk, you know, be as you advise sometimes. And you've got to be that for yourself. And really, this is the power, and this is your power reclamation. It's being your goddess essence, you know, and from here you are absolutely magnetic, because this is your radiance, this is your truth, this is why you're here. So all of those things, you know, those divine aspects of who you are, however complex, however multitudinal, because there are so many aspects to our being, it's extraordinary. It's like sometimes there's, you know, it feels like a million people inside of us, and you know, different voices, different ways of expressing, different, really thoroughly different aspects of who we are. And it's really about bringing all of these parts of our expression and finding the way to share all of it. Rather, doesn't always have to fuse together, but maybe there are certain contexts that are perfect for certain parts of your expression, and allowing all of those to come through, because these have all been cultivated within you across lifetimes. You know, all of these attributes and ways of expressing, and you know, parts of your knowledge. Your soul is an eye to intellect, and your soul has been traveling since the beginning of creation. So as more you're able to hold your soul, as more you're able to open into that light and to tune into your intuition, you know, as you meet people in your life, they are connected to you. It's a covenant, you know, it's by design. And it is a labyrinth, you know, there are lots of different avenues that you can take, lots of different timelines. And according to which timeline you're locking into at any given moment will determine the potential connections that you can come into contact with. But as you come into contact with your soul family, in all of these myriad ways, as you open, as you take spontaneous natural action, you will just collide magnetically. And all of these connections, these agreements, these beautiful destinies, potential destinies, and then realized destinies will unlock different parts of you. And so you will start to see all of these radiant aspects of your being. It's about allowing that. Do not fix upon any sense of like a certain identity, a fixed identity. I am this. We are many, many, many things, and this is ever unfolding. You know, you just have to be witness to your own unfoldment as the universe unfolds. And yes, there is, you know, a highest potential destiny for the universe, but there's all of these choices that we're all making at an individual level that impacts collectively how this plays out. And I remember hearing Jesus say to me, every aspect of nature either self-corrects or it collapses. And so there is this highest destiny of humanity. Let's think about humanity on planet Earth. There is the highest destiny, and all of our collective choices affect and are a part of how efficiently we come into that destiny. So we are really directioned towards this beautiful angelic race of humans again on Earth, and it's what I call the primitive humans, or the original humans. And I have a memory of this from being seeded in the first race of humans, and so really a large part of my journey has been remembering this angelic nature of what it means to be human and seeing this future timeline. So making choices that are aligned with your value system. This will help you come into efficient alignment, economical alignment with your soul for your highest good and for the highest good of the collective. And so it can be a really beautiful thing. I invite you to just reflect upon all of the values that you hold and write them exhaustively, and then you can think about how and which are possible to install in this very moment. Which are you ready to install now? Where are you already installing your values? Because Venus comes and says, you know, where you install your values, you see immense beauty. It is this beauty that unfolds out of the installment and alignment with your values. You know, here is where we meet with abundance. Here is where we become abundance, actually. Because when we're being who we truly are and we're being aligned with our values, we're aligning ourselves with our values. This really is an alignment with our soul. And here we meet with smoothness, we meet with openness, with flow, with opportunities, with invitations, with doors opening. Here we are magnetic. So what are your values, and can you walk your talk and without any judgment if you're not? Because sometimes we have to do healing work and deep excavation to be able to come into the fullness of our expression. But this is also part of it. You know, this sensuality, this softness, this surrendering, this feeling safe to surrender permits the opening and permits the healing that actually is not a doing, but it happens in your permission to open and surrender. And, you know, I'm always saying that surrender can never happen without safety. So I think this is really the beginning point for any inquiry into any aspect of your life. How can you create the safety, you know, like at your root, at the bottom of your being? And, you know, it is only when we feel safe with regards to anything that we can unfold, that we can blossom, that we can go into our darknesses, and that we can come through and be the radiance that we came to be. And it's for sure not easy. It's like the most difficult part of the human experience, and you know, the journey and descent into the darkness, you know, is a labour, but it can be a beautiful labour when the judgment is removed. So this sensuality, this softness, this surrender of Venus can permit the graceful descent into any shadows that need to be opened to your attention, your conscious awareness, for release and healing. Venus is also, of course, about fertility. Oh my gosh, you know, this is not just about human life fertility. It's not just about the fertility of the female body. It's about the fertility in nature in general. And this observation that we see of the sex of nature and this multiplicity, the way she's birthing, you know, the way that our Earth Mother just, you know, metaphorically opens her legs and just births and births and births. You know, it's just extraordinary in all of these lunar cycles. We see the seasons. It's like a macroscopic lunar cycle, month cycle, but we see this like enlarged macroscopically in the seasons. And then we go through these continual cycles, and this is happening universally as well. And it's also happening at an individual and personal level, of course, too, whether you're a man or a woman. So it's about honouring cycles, it's about shedding and letting go, it's about coming into your radiance, it's also about winters where we strip away. And, you know, it's just really, really allowing for all the ways that we express as these fertile, sexual, human expressions of the cosmos. And not trying to always be like explicit and overt. You know, there are phases to be hermit-like and introverted and building and growing, and then there are times to be out there. And then there are also obviously times to like let go of all the old leaves and let the branches that no longer serve you fall away, and honouring all of these processes, all of them as a part of the order of creation, as a part of the entirety of creation and the beauty that we see in all of that, including the decay and the fall away. And it's sometimes, maybe often, in the darkest of moments, in the, you know, the most naked of strippings, where you really feel like you're in your rawest state in a sense, or you're in the blackest darkness, that you find the most gorgeous illumination and like the most incredible strength within you. And I think we're always, as this human experience goes, having to hold this duality, hold the paradox of the eternal nature of the soul and the impermanence of our humanity and our mortality. You know, the love that all pain is, but also holding the emotionality and the very real feelings of what it is and what it's like to go through painful experiences, whilst at the same time holding this knowledge that everything is seeking integrity, and that we have to go through challenge and deaths of parts of ourselves and you know, and darkness in order to experience the light. And yes, Venus is really talking about this universality of love. You know, that the goddess is the creator of all aspects of creation, and it's about honoring and holding that, whilst also acknowledging and holding space for our humanity as well, which is the bit that makes us relatable. It's the bit that connects us as humans as we go through all these different experiences and challenges and turmoils and ecstasies. Which sort of brings me to pleasure. I can't record a video about Venus without talking about pleasure. So pleasure has sometimes been kind of demonized, or you know, it has sometimes this connotation of, you know, just being tarnished. And pleasure is the most extraordinary gift that we've been given. Our bodies are designed this way in order to receive and be pleasured, give pleasure and receive pleasure. And when we do this, we bring the body into such a state that it becomes blissful. And this is like the highest expression of creation. This is actually how we create. It's the highest expression of creation. It's the height of what it is to be human, isn't it? To feel bliss states, to reach ecstatic state. And this ecstatic state is used for creation. This is how babies are created, but it's also how we can cultivate this beautiful field of ecstasy around us whilst we're creating our other projects. So when we enter into these bliss states as often as possible, when we self-pleasure, this is really self-love. When we open to say, I deserve this pleasure, I deserve this ecstatic state, this bliss, this halo, this, you know, this permeating pleasure into my field, when I permit that, I am permitting the highest form of self-love. I am giving myself and allowing to receive the highest form of love, either from another, or when I'm giving it to myself, I'm self-loving. And this really is a beautiful practice. I don't even want to use the word practice really, but it's just a beautiful entrance way into the height of feeling, the depth of your being as well. It's like the height of sensation. It's also the depth and core. You reach the depth and core of your being, and it really fills every cell in your body and every particle field of your energy body with this bliss, and it makes you super magnetic. So this is crazy important for magnetism, for manifestation, for attracting in what you want, and also for charging your body. You know, it really is like a protection against dis-ease, and it supports you in coming into your alignment and purpose, and you can create out of it in a very powerful way. So Venus is nurturance of abundance. We find this abundance, we become this abundance through alignment with our values, which is alignment with our soul. She is about releasing sexual shame and using and honouring this fertility and sex of nature and you as a part of nature to cultivate this bliss field all around you, so that you can be magnetic to all of your desires. You know, this really is the root of her word one, meaning to desire and to strive for. She is victory. She is sensuality. She is surrender. Surrendering to let go and surrendering into your beauty and surrendering into your feminine, authentic expression. So what is truly you and what do you wish to experience? This is Venus. She's also mastery of your soul light wisdom. So this is really the last thing I'll say about Venus for now, because it's really coming through strong. It's about remembrance. Actually, you have all the wisdom that you need, and it is ever unfolding, it is ever growing. Actually, as you evolve, your soul evolves through the cosmos. It's less of a studying, it's more of a retrieval. It's a remembering of who you are, and it's a remembering of your power, and it's a remembering of the innate gifts that you've accumulated over all of these lifetimes that you always have access to. So you may have past life remembrances, or you may just have inclinations towards certain cultures, certain practices. You know, to begin with, when I started, remembering my Taoist and Zen and Buddhist past lives, I started to become interested in Chinese language and characters and living in particular countries. I lived in Taiwan for 4 years to really start to remember this experience of a past life. So what are you drawn to? It will probably come through in language or specific chants or prayers or music or, particular clothing. Like I adore kimonos, and I just have this feeling that I have been in this life. And some of the information and visions come through really clearly, and some is just a knowing. It's like a return of the knowledge that you already have. So pay attention to these curiosities and trust in the soul light wisdom that you have. You don't have to study or go and externally get things. Actually, this is the return to the primitivity and the angelic human race. This is the direction we're going in, because actually you can return to being the direct channel that you are, and you will receive very specific information that you are here on this planet to transmit. So trust in what you're receiving, trust in the knowledge you already have, not just from this lifetime, but from all of those incarnations that you've been through. And know that you are a very complex, very multitudinal, multidimensional being with access to this information right now. And the more that you open for your soul light, and the more that you cultivate your body, the more that you spend time paying attention to what you ingest and digest, because this is a big part of the awakening journey. And to cultivate your vibration, it really begins with the physical body. It becomes a journey of releasing everything that's held in the physical body, really acknowledging that the physical body is spiritual material, and that all emotional, energetic, spiritual, psychic blockages appear in the body. So this is the primary focus, I would say, the healing bit and the release. And then there's also the way that you can hold your light as more you release. So when you let go of whatever's been holding, this is back to sensuality and surrender and softness of the feminine into love, then you can start to receive more of your light. And this cultivates your body. So it's a release to heal, and it's an opening to receive more of your light. And it's about discerning what you ingest and digest. And, as information, as food, as people, and really keeping your space as clear as possible, honouring the temple that you are. And when you do this, you start to say, I'm worth more, I'm worth more. This is the discernment process. And as you discern and as you insert these beautiful boundaries, and creating this enchantment field all around you of bliss and release and alignment with values, as more you make space for that more aligned to come in as a beautiful reflection back of you and what you've cultivated. So there we go. Venus, love, sex, fertility, sensuality. She also says, it's fine to indulge in pleasure. It's actually a beautiful enhancement to your energy body. It's a very natural part of creation, and it's meant to be sexy. You're here for pleasure, and you will feel this pleasure through your service work, through your purpose, and it will feel effortless. We've just been very conditioned to feel that it should be hard work, but when you're in your purpose, it really will feel very easy and very natural and very instinctive and spontaneous. That's not to say that you don't need structure. We need structure and discipline to hold this spontaneity and naturalness. but it will not feel tiring. It will not deplete you. So yes, there we go. Fertility, love, 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 universal love, and beauty everywhere. So until the next episode in the Planetary Series, sending you loads of love, and see you next time.